All right, welcome back everybody. Today I am putting in wiring the front cam. Also going to start the major service, but I wanted to get the front cam wired in and everything. Now it's very easy to get all the shrouding off. I don't have to explain it, other than there are two side ones right here and one right here. Just lifts right out. Takes it just a few minutes to do. So I've kind of what we're going to do now is we're going to start removing the air box. So there's a little plastic clip here that you just pull out like that, and then that just unplugs like that. Very easy. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually replacing this, so I won't be reusing this. So I'm going to go ahead and just pry this off here, take this band off, and I'm also going to take this one off here and just completely remove it. And then the air box is just 1, 2, 3 clips, and then this whole unit will come off. And then what we'll need to do next is take these off here so we can get the main air box off to access our belts. Okay, so that lifts right out. Very easy. Just kind of have to take a screwdriver and pry this loose a little bit. And we'll take this out, and it looks pretty like it needs replaced pretty bad. So a lot of stuff in there, so we'll vacuum all that out and get it cleaned up. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is remove these, and if you can see in here, let me get down there, you can see there's some little tabs there that you have to push in. You could either do that, or you could just simply, I think, pull these off too. They just come right off. So I'm going to get that done real quick, and then there's just one bolt here. It looks like it's probably a 10 millimeter. And so we'll get this box out and we'll expose the belts. Okay, so that was very easy to get out after removing the 10 millimeter there. What I did, I just went ahead and removed this. They just slide right off. Very easy. And then I just slid the one end, and then I brought it. You got to kind of clear this a little bit and just bring it up and out. It was very simple. So as you can see now, we have all the belts here. First we need to take this belt off. That's the first priority. And then after that, here's the tensioner right here, and we'll remove that belt, which looks pretty darn easy. The serpentine belt is very small, so we're going to work on that next. Okay, so what we're going to use to remove the belt is this tool here. I think it was like 30 bucks on Amazon. It was pretty cheap. And then I also have a 30-inch breaker bar with a 36 millimeter socket that will hook onto the crank, and then that's how we're going to turn the engine over to slide the belt off. So I'm going to get these set up, and we'll see how hard it is to get that off. Okay, so what it looks pretty darn easy. Let me get down here so you can kind of see it. So you just stick that in right there, and there's grooves under there, and you just get it set to the set on the belt there like that, and then we'll go ahead and get the breaker bar and we'll start turning it. All right, so we got the belt off. I did it by myself. I'm doing all this by myself. It took me about 3 minutes, maybe not even that. The hardest part is repositioning the socket onto the crank, so you have enough room to pry it. But basically about 3 times is all it took, and then you just take a screwdriver and it just falls right off. So that was really easy. Now we're going to go ahead and find out what this bolt is here, and get a wrench, get a deal on it, and release the tension, and we'll take off the serpentine belt. All right, we got the new belt on. I was able to do it all by myself on this. I was able to get the serpentine belt off by myself. However, it's going to be a lot easier if you just have somebody help you, because you want to slide it up on this, on the alternator, get it all wrapped around and where it should go, and then slip it on the alternator up there. That's going to be there, but you will. It's a bit difficult with one person trying to push the tensioner. Now the tensioner is right here, and that is a 15 millimeter, and you will turn it down. So you'll turn it down this way to take tension off, and it'll go clear down. So you'll really have a lot of slack to work with. So the belt's done. Now I'm going to put the air box back in, connect everything, and then one thing that I am doing, I'm adding a BMC filter, and also I'm going to be installing this, which is just super simple. It's more for looks. They say it has a little bit different sound, but the reviews I've heard, it really doesn't. It's just mainly for looks. I love the carbon fiber on it and the emblems. I think it's going to look really sharp in here. So I am going to slide this on, and I guess that's it for in here. Other than changing fluids, I think I got all this stuff done. So I think the really hard part is done. Changing flushing the radiator, or not flushing it, but draining the radiator, differential fluid, brake fluid, and oil and filter. And then we got to exchange the power steering fluid. You just suck it out and put new in, move it around, suck it out, put new in. You're just kind of not flushing, but kind of doing a quick exchange on it. So and then resetting the engine service in the computer, and that's about it. All right, we got the air box on. We got the new air filter in. Just take your time. These will fit back in. It takes a little bit of working in, but they do fit right in. Don't forget to put your bolt in. There's 2 pins down in the bottom, that little rubber holes that the pins go in from the air box. Make sure that's seated in. Other than that, I think we just need to put we're going to put the new intake on, or the sound chambers in, and then we'll button everything up. And as far as that, we're done. Now don't disregard these wires right here. I'm putting a front cam in. That's a whole nother video there, so don't worry about that. So I am actually just about done here. Okay, so we got everything buttoned up and everything is tightened down. I think that looks just phenomenal. I think that looks really cool. But it wasn't too difficult. As long as you have these little removal tools, this wasn't too bad. And the part number on mine is a 214-271. And then one thing on the serpentine belt, it does have, looks like it has a direction. So just make sure when you pull it off that you do the correct direction. But it was actually, this is the only thing that I needed 2 people with. It was just a little bit difficult. So I'm going to save, I'll save these belts as backups if I ever need them. So I guess that's going to conclude this portion. We got everything done here. Now it's time to do all the fluids, including brake fluid, rear end, antifreeze, power steering, everything. The only thing that we don't do anything with is the transmission. So we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and change the oil. A lot of you guys know how to change the oil, but for those of you who won't, I'm going to run through it. This car is very, very easy to change the oil in. Now, what I use a quick jack, and this is a 5,000 pound quick jack. It's the DL 5000 SLX. I think it's just a lifesaver. I use it all the time. Now, you know, on your lift points, you have a little tiny round areas. Well, what I do, I use the tall block, and then I bought these on Amazon, and they were, I think, 10 bucks for 4 of them. So I have those, and they absolutely 100% fit perfectly underneath. I'm trying to get under to show you. Let me take my camera off here. Okay, and you can see how they will literally fit perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and get the car lifted up. Okay, the quick jack's all ready. I got everything in position. We're going to go ahead and lift it. You're going to see how awesome this is. Just slick as can be. We'll let it go to the first rung there. What you want to do actually is you want to, I kind of went a little too far, but you want to get these, and these will catch on there, and that'll be your safety point. Okay, here's what you all need for tool wise. You need a 17 millimeter, a 10 millimeter, and then a 10 millimeter Allen, oil filter wrench, and there's a 906-86-18P, and then the Maserati OEM filter with the crush washer, and I use Quick 8 Q horsepower 5W40, who's sold by Formula Dynamics. I get all my oil changing and all my fluids from Formula Dynamics, so it's very easy. We'll get under here and I'll show you what needs to be taken off. It's very, very easy. Here's your 17 millimeter. You're going to have 2 of those, one there and there, and then your 10 millimeter right there, and then your oil filter, and there's a 10 there and a 10 there. So you have a total of 5 bolts to take off there, and that accesses the oil filter, and there's your drain plug. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Okay, sorry if I get in the way of the camera, but these are double washered. So there's those 2 bolts. Put the 10 millimeter on. Alright, and that's all you have to remove to get to the oil filter. Go ahead and stick that off to the side. And it is very easy to get to the oil filter. It's right there. Let's see if I can turn the light on. There's the oil filter. And it's just a little oily from last time I changed it, so it does kind of drip on there, so it's not the cleanest thing. I do put some rags up in there just to kind of help it, because it kind of gets in that frame rail. So I'm going to go ahead and get the oil drain plug off and get it draining, and then I'll go ahead and once I'll let that completely drain, put the new crush washer and the oil plug back in, and then I'll move my pan over here and we'll get the oil filter done. Okay, so we have the oil in, the oil filter back in, Very simple. This is one of the easiest cars you'll change oil in. It wasn't difficult at all. It took right about 9 quarts of oil. You put in 8 quarts, and then I started it up, let it warm up, and then I added about a quart, maybe a little less. So when you get the kit from Formula Dynamics, they actually give you 10 quarts. So you have enough to fill and then top off, and then you have some extra oil. So, all right, going to move on to the differential. Okay, for the rear end, what you're going to need is a 22 millimeter wrench. This is a 8 millimeter Allen or hex, and then 2 quarts of the 75W140, and then something to pump the oil in. I've heard anywhere it takes a quarter and a quart to 2 quarts. Jason on Maserati Life stated it takes 2 quarts, so that's what we're going to go with. Also, you may need a big hammer, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, so what we're going to do is take a 22 millimeter, and it's going to go right up on this side plug right here. Make sure and take this off before you take the drain plugs off, because if you can't get that off, you're going to be screwed. So here's the hammer. It's too tight for hands, so just kind of gently tap it, and it comes right off. So we got that loose now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to undo this drain plug. Okay, now we're going to do the drain plug. And I do have a cheater bar here, so we'll use the cheater bar. Slide it in there and break it right loose. Very easy. Go ahead and drain this and see what comes out. There, it looks a little thick, and you can see I only have 15,000 miles, and you can see the stuff on the end there. So definitely needs to be changed quite often. I'll go ahead and undo this completely. There we go. And we'll let that drain. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and pump the oil in with this. I'm going to just stick it in like that. And I will start pumping. I'm going to do it off camera so I can use both hands. So I'll be right back, and we'll see how much it takes. Okay, so as you can see, I put in a quarter, or excuse me, 1 quart and a quarter, because I heard it took 1.25 or so, and then I heard that it takes 2 quarts. Well, it obviously takes 1 1/4 because I have it, and it's overflowing. So I'm going to let it drain out a little bit, and then we'll put the cap on. So looks like it takes about 1 1/4 quarts or so, and it was pretty darn easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and button this up. Okay, we just finished up the rear end. It was very simple to do. Now my car has 15,000 miles on it, and you could see this was what was on the plug, or on the drain plug, on the magnetic part of it. So yeah, if you haven't changed your rear end, your differential fluid, I highly recommend it, because at 15,000 miles, just imagine what it looks like at 50, 60, even 30,000 miles. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is the radiator fluid. Pretty easy. Just going to need a bucket. This is concentrate. Looks like a 1.5 gallons. I believe it holds just a little over 3 gallons. But and then I went ahead and bought some distilled water to mix 50-50. And then you'll need your 4 millimeter Allen to get all of the bolts off this skid pan. You'll have to remove it. It'll be very easy. And a 14 millimeter to get the little petcock out, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, we got the pan off. It was very easy to get off. There was quite a few bolts there to get off. And don't mind my pry bar there. Next thing, how we drain it is this is a 14 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and undo this. This won't come completely off. This is like it'll have a little catch there. So kind of will be a little messy shoot out, but that's why I got the 5-gallon bucket to catch it all, and we'll try and see if we can't not make a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up, get it start draining, and then we're going to go up and open up the cap to let it flow a little better. Okay, what we're going to do, I set the car down on the ground. I'm going to raise the, take a single jack, and raise the right rear corner and raise it up a little bit, because I'm at a slight angle uphill. My garage drains down, and I'm going to make sure all that fluid gets out. Now, here's why you need to change your radiator fluid. 15,000 miles, and it is brown and yucky. Now that's a leaf in there that blew in, but this is a brand new white bucket, so there is nothing in there. So at 15,000 miles, you can see how dirty your coolant is. It's really easy. It is messy, guys. It kind of goes everywhere. So need a bucket and another pan. I have a small pan under there now. So I'm going to go ahead and jack it up and see if we can get the rest out. Okay, now we have the car running. I got the antifreeze in. You'll see that I have about 3/4 of a gallon left over. I'll be topping it off. What you do, you start it up, leave the cap off, let it run, get to operating temperature to get all the air bubbles out, let the thermostat open up, and you'll see I had it at max and it's down a little bit, so we're going to let it warm completely up and check it again. Now on the cap down here, what I did, I guess right there, what I did is you just hand tight it, and then you very gently tighten it up. It is all plastic, so you don't want to over tighten it, so you just snug it up with the wrench, but man, you got to be really careful so you don't strip that mold out. So we're going to go ahead and finish letting this warm up and then top it off. Okay, next we're doing the brakes. We're going to bleed the brakes. We're going to use a Motive power bleeder, and we got the catch can here, and we got basically 3 pints of Motel .4 brake fluid, and then all you'll need is a 11 millimeter wrench. And what we're going to do, the first thing we need to do is there's a little screen in there. Okay, I tried getting this screen out and I just can't get it out. You'll see it's just, I've almost destroyed it, so I'm not even gonna, it will not pull out. I've tried needle nose screwdrivers, everything else. So anyhow, I got as much as I can sucked out, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill it to max with fresh fluid, and then we'll start flushing it, and hopefully we'll work all that old oil out. So we're going to go ahead and get the power bleeder all hooked up. Okay, we got the power bleeder all hooked up. Just need to make sure this is on real secure, make sure all your connections are good and secure. What we're going to do, we're going to pump this up to around 15 pounds, and we want to maintain that about 12 to 15, so we'll come up here and pump it up and make sure it stays about 15 pounds, in between 12 and 15. And then I'll go ahead and put pressure on it, and then we'll start on our first caliper. Okay, what you want to do is you want to start at the farthest brake caliper away from the brake reservoir. So we're going to start with the right rear, then we're going to do the left rear, and then the right front, and then the left front. So what I do is take the, I usually take, it's my 11 millimeter, I stick the box in side in, and then I put my bleeder on, and I'll just kind of let it dangle here. There's a little deal I can, when it gets heavy, or if it does, I can hang it on there. wrap it around and hang it. Anyhow, so I'm going to go pump the power bleeder up to 15 pounds, and then I'll go ahead and crack this one open. All right, we have it at 15 pounds. We're going to crack it open and start doing it. I'm going to need both hands, so I'm going to shut the video off, but I'll show you how much I'm going to put in there. I'm going to put quite a bit in there because this is the farthest one, so I really want to, I need to empty out the reservoir and the lines and everything, so I will get started on that. Okay, I'll go ahead and film this part of it. Okay, so I'm going to start on the inside, and we're going to go ahead and crack it open. We're going to crack it open until we see, there it comes. And she's starting to fill up. See it filling up. And this is just a one-man job too. You don't need two people. Could be nice with two, just make sure the one person is keeping the pressure on the power bleeder, but you could easily do this with one person like I am. So we'll go ahead and we're going to fill this up quite a bit actually, since this is the farthest one away and will require a little more fluid. Go ahead and set that down like that. Check my pressure. It's a slow going, but it's going. So I'll go ahead and shut the video off for now and let it go. Okay, I just got the second one done. You'll see I put quite a bit, there's quite a bit of fluid in there. It's actually really looking good. I changed some out of a BMW here a couple weeks ago, out of my son's BMW, and it was just nasty. I mean, it looked like it was dirty oil. So this is actually coming out pretty clean. But we got quite a bit in there. We're going to go ahead and move to the left rear. Okay, we got everything back together. We got the reservoir filled up to full. So that completes the brake job, which wasn't too bad at all. Now I'm going to do the power steering, which is going to be, again, very simple. So all you do on the power steering, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but I'll tell you how to do it. It's very simple. Just grab just a cheap turkey baster, or anything, I guess a brake bleed or anything will suck it out. Make sure it's clean. I'm going to suck out as much as I can out of this reservoir, and then I'm going to fill it back up with the fresh stuff, and then I'm going to turn the car on and turn the wheels several times left and right to circulate that oil. And then what I'll do is I'll suck it all out again and then refill. Basically, you're doing a flush on it is what you're doing. So you'll pull the old fluid out, put the new in, turn it, let it recycle a little bit, and then you'll suck it all out again and put fresh in. So it's very, very simple. It should only take about 15 minutes at the most. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the final thing that I have to do is the cabin air filter. Okay, now it's on to the cabin air filter. This is going to be, I believe, fairly easy. You have that little plug. You got one right there, one right there, and then you have the one back there. And I believe that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those off. Okay, after we got that off, there's your cabin air filter access point right there. So what you do, see if I can do this with one hand, you just slide this over like that, and it comes right out. Just kind of at an angle. All right, there it is. Okay, I am replacing mine with a OEM Maserati filter. It does have airflow direction, so the way it comes out facing towards you is going to be the dirty side. So you want the arrows facing away from you when you install it. The original one that was in there, it was pretty dirty. Doesn't look like it's been it's probably never been changed before, is what I'm assuming. So it's not horrible, but like I say, it's probably never been replaced. Looks like it has the original Maserati emblem and everything on it, so it must be OEM. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and slide this back in. All right, that's all completed. We got everything put back together like it should be. That took probably about 5 minutes to do. Extremely easy. So on that, the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to reset the service on it using my Untitled MaxiCheck reader, and we'll reset the major service. Okay, so this is what I'm using. I'm using the Untitled MaxiCheck MX808, and you can see I have it connected to the OBD2 reader. So what we're going to do, go into service. Let's see, we'll do the oil reset. We're going to do see if it auto detects the VIN. Okay, we got the Granturismo M145. We're going to go into the hot function. Service reset, information reset. Okay. Okay. So that is all done. Okay, and it is as simple as that. We're going to go into the okay, no fault codes. We're going to make sure that we have. Oh, let's see here. Let's double check. I'm going to go off camera and look just a little bit to see if I need to reset anything else on here for the major service, so we get everything set to 0. Okay, I went through and it looks like that is what I needed to do, and the service features are all taken care of now. So we are set back to 0 on the service, so we shouldn't get any wrenches or any warnings. If we do, we'll go in and address them as they come. So I hope this helps you guys in doing the major service. I did it I have 15,176 miles. I have my dash tore apart right now. I'm working on a new head unit and stuff. But anyhow, this should, you know, for what it costs, I think I have about $550 roughly invested in all the materials, parts and everything. Now, I did have to buy some tools here and there. The automotive power bleeder was about $85 that I've had for a long time because I do all my own cars and everything. So it's been useful on a lot. I think pretty much, I mean, I don't really think there was anything really hard. The belts were probably the most difficult, and they weren't that difficult at all. Everything else was easy. This car is extremely easy to work on. You know, do it in, you know, take your time, do a portion of it one weekend, do another, you know, do all the stuff underneath like I did yesterday. I did all the brake fluid, the radiator fluid, and the rear end. I did that in one shot, and then I did the oil change in one shot. I mean, so, you know, just take your time. You can do it over several weekends. You don't have to, or you can do it all at once. It'd take probably a full day to get everything done, but shoot, it was not that difficult at all. So this could literally save you thousands of dollars. If you have a buddy that comes and helps you, it'll make it go a lot easier. It's always kind of fun to have somebody there. I did mine 100% by myself, except for my son helped me put route the belt onto the alternator for about 2 minutes. So other than that, I did it all by myself, and it wasn't difficult at all. So anybody with some knowledge of some know-how, and if you could change an oil in a car, you're going to be able to work on your own Maserati. So don't let that major service scare you. If you have any questions, you could leave a comment below. I hope to be doing some more videos and stuff. I'll be testing a new radio soon, and also I'll be adding some carbon fiber side skirts on and stuff like that. So I'm getting close to about where I want to be with this car and all I'm going to do to it. So and then start driving it and enjoying it. Go to car shows. All right, take care, everybody.